Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tongue, the bi-weekly escape from reality show where I get to escape from reality with my good friends all over the planet, all over the Green Hills zone, if you will. Yeah, that's right. I'm teasing it out. What are we talking about today? What could it possibly be? I'm not going to even say yet because I have a very special guest with me here today. Twitch streamer extraordinaire. We have whinnaay, everyone. Hello, whinnaay.
Hello, people shy.
whinnaay, and I'm going to keep bouncing back between Wit and whinnaay just because I know you on a personal level because we're like that, you and I guess. You're like the annoying sister I've never wanted.
Wait a second. It's more like you're the annoying one and I'm the mature one, which I think says a lot.
That does say a lot. And I wanted to get that jab in first because I knew you'd reverse it on me. So here it is. I got it out first. You're not annoying. I'm kidding, everyone. whinnaay here is a very fantastic person that is going to talk a lot about some really nerdy shit today. Let me tell you, something that is near and dear to her heart and mine too. But before we get into that, whinnaay, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself? It's been a while since you stepped foot in the pod cavern. You've been on an episode of Ranked. You've been on another episode of Talking Tongue. But I feel like this one right here, today's episode was like made for you.
Well, I don't know if I would say made for me, but I guess
I think it is. I think it is.
If everyone thinks of someone who's like a major Sonic fan in their life, I think it's, you'd be kind of hard pressed to find one nowadays. So I'll gladly take that title.
Yeah, one of the first things I noticed about you was you having just a zillion Sonic, I don't know, paraphernalia, just everywhere. Sonic figurines, Sonic like images. You love Sonic.
Yeah, that's true. I cannot deny that.
But before we get into Sonic, and of course we are talking about Sonic 2 today, but before we get into that, I want to get to know you a little bit. Well, I already know you, but the people at home don't. So how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, hello, everyone. It's an honor to be on Talking Tongue again. It has been a couple of years, but my name is whinnaay. Most of you know me as a whinnaay from Twitch. A lot of people also know me as a win. Some people IRL maybe even know me as a wit. But yeah, I stream primarily Genshin Impact on Twitch nowadays, 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays in the evenings Eastern time. But before I started getting into Genshin, before I started streaming, way back in the day when I was, just a little girl. Oh my gosh, I feel so old saying this. Back in my day, no.
whinnaay, you've only been streaming for like what? Almost 2 years, or has it been 2 years now?
No, not even 2 years. It's been a little over
so when
a
you're
year.
saying back in my day, it's really not been long at all.
You're right. But I mean like really like super young. Back in the days of the Nintendo GameCube, Sonic was literally all I played day and night practically. So
yeah. Okay, so you had a crush on this blue hedgehog?
God, why do people always bring that up? Why is that always the first thing that people say? Okay,
am I wrong? I wrong?
I wouldn't say I had a crush on Sonic. I had a deep admiration for him. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Because think about it. He was like, just this dude who like, it's not that he doesn't care. In fact, he cares a lot about people, but he's also very chill, very laid back. He has an appreciation for the simple things in life, like good tasting chili dogs, He appreciates, I don't know, he appreciates nature because he
Yep,
loves exploring and going on adventures.
that's
And
right.
he doesn't, he doesn't shy away from doing the right thing.
He is just the video game version of Goku from Dragon Ball Z. He's exactly like Goku,
I
but actually he's in many ways like Goku, which we'll talk about at the end of this film here in the
I
spoilers
guess
later.
so.
Really is,
I can't
but uh,
I can't say because I never watched Dragon Ball Z, so
and I knew this about you too, which is
Mhm.
a completely different conversation. But Winnie, you've been streaming for the last almost 2 years now. Tell me a little bit about the journey of streaming on Twitch, because I remember when you first started and you were
Mhm.
like, Tongue, like you're such an accomplished streamer yourself. I'm kidding. I'm not at all. um, and
I
you
was about to
were
say, wait a
thanks.
second.
And you were understandably nervous about the whole process. And who wouldn't be, honestly? I
Mm,
I even now, I mean, back then I was nervous to do like just experimental streaming. And here you are doing it on a quite a regular schedule. You have a following
mhm,
now. Things have grown a lot for you in a short a period of
mhm.
time. So I want to hear all about this journey of yours.
Yeah, I mean, well, so streaming has always been something that's interested me, I would say, because even though, for us, Tongue, we're gamers, we we frequent a lot online, I guess is one way to put it. So we know all about, Twitch and the culture and like, like Pokimane and offline TV and, esports and everything. But I feel like in general daily life, it's still a concept that people have a hard time wrapping their heads around. But,
Yeah.
for me, I always knew I've been, like enjoyed gaming since I was, again, since I mentioned, since I was little, since I had a GameCube, since I
It
first got Super
blows my
Smash
mind
Bros.
that the
Melee.
GameCube is the oldest system that you're referencing right now. And I'm like, well, I'm not even that much older than you, but I'm like, let's talk about the NES and like the Sega. And here you are
I
talking
never
about the
played NES or
GameCube.
Sega Dreamcast. No, I never got the opportunity to try those, but
Continue, continue.
yeah, and I don't know, like gaming has just been, such a big part of my life, and people have been such a big part of my life too. And I just remember even when I was in college, one of the internships that I did was for a game dev studio, like local to the area. And one of the co-founders actually told me, oh, like you should start streaming. And this was back in 2014. And back then, I was like still busy with school and still figuring out, what I wanted to do in life, what I liked and disliked. And I didn't even have the equipment to stream, let alone run, Left 4 Dead 2 without it crashing every half an hour. So
Yeah.
streaming was just curiosity for me. I didn't even like frequent Twitch a lot. I just, like knew about offline TV and like all the major people from just because they're so big, right? But then I finally got a gaming PC last February. And so I was like, okay, now I have the equipment to try it out. So, I'll give it a shot. And worst thing, worst, like, it's just me hanging out with like one or two people, like friends I know IRL that I'll be hanging out with anyways while I'm gaming, right? And, it's just a fun time. And whomever comes and stops by, like, just we can get to know each other. And best case scenario, they leave and we had a good time?
Yeah. And obviously best case scenario happened for you. I'm not saying you're this like multi-million subscriber count channel right
Oh
now,
my
but
God,
you
absolutely not.
well, you know what, you're very humble about things, which is very what's the word I used, annoying before at the beginning of the show. Because you really are, in my eyes, successful already, and I
Thank
truly mean that.
you.
And I can only see your fan base growing and growing even more. And it's not like, I think, in my eyes, you've compromised your entire life to streaming, which I know is a thing that streamers struggle with the streaming community, YouTube, the internet in general. We're just surrounded by content after content, new people coming in, breaking into the scene and not able to find their footing or their voice. So the fact that you have the followers that you do in less than 2 years, I think is pretty impressive.
Oh, thank you so much, Tong. Yeah, it means a lot.
And I do mean it, but Winnie, I'm curious because how do you think your success happened because you're not streaming 7 days a week? I know people in real life who have given up basically their whole life to streaming, and it is a struggle for them. So what's your secret?
Oh my God, don't say it like that, please. So the truth is, Tong, you're right. It is really, really extremely difficult, I would even say, because even though on the surface it looks like, oh, Win has, she has like over 5,000 followers on Twitch or whatever, and it's been like, less than 2 years, and like, whenever you pop into her stream, it seems like there's a lot of people there and stuff. But the reality is that it's very hard to succeed on just streaming. So what I mean by that is, for me, like, I really enjoy streaming because, like I mentioned, I really enjoy being around people and just I get my energy from hanging around others, and being with others while playing gaming is, like, just that's a sweet spot for me. So I absolutely love streaming. I love clicking that go live button at like not every day, of course, but like every stream. And I like totally, it's so easy to forget about everything else when I'm broadcasting, but
you're just lost in the moment, man.
Exactly. But I'm quickly realizing that the tough thing about streaming is, you have to, there's a reason why so many full-time streamers are live 7 days a week for as long as they can be, because you kind of have to in order to increase your following. No one's going to follow you, or it's very rare to get follows when you're offline, because that's like compare it to like a storefront or a shop, right? You're closed. No one can come in and browse or whatever, right? Unless your content is like also up online elsewhere. And that's why so many other streamers, they're also content creators. They're posting videos, shorts on YouTube, TikTok. They're making Instagram posts and reels. So people still have access to their content, and it can be reused and accessed even when they are not live. But again, content creation for me is, I personally, I don't enjoy content creation, to be honest. Like,
you just want to press the go live button and be like, all right, see you the next one, right?
Yeah. And that's what I did for the longest time. But now I'm realizing that is not actually sustainable. And I actually even saw kind of like a plateau in my growth, because I think that, there's just so much that, and I think like the good thing about my streams is people come because of the vibes.
Oh, no.
What I mean by that is no, I don't mean it in that way. What I mean by that is because some streamers, you go to them because they're entertaining. I personally don't think I'm an entertaining person. I think I'm actually quite dry.
That's ridiculous. I feel like you're doing the thing again. You're being the A word right now.
I just feel like, I don't know. I'm sure I have my moments, of course. Like people say that they love seeing me mauled, like when I'm raging over not being able to do something hard or challenging in the game. Or I guess like when I'm fangirling and stuff. That's also another highlight for me. But outside of that, I feel like there's way more entertaining and eye-catching people out there. I think it's that people come to my stream to chat and to hang out and to feel like they are, because most people that come to my stream, I know for a fact that they have me up on their second monitor and they're just playing Genshin and listening in the background, which is totally okay. They're just like lurking and stuff, right? But it's very hard to maintain a conversation with people in chat at a sustainable pace after a certain amount of people are there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is interesting. That's tough. So what
Mm-hmm.
is the solution then that you're trying to navigate right now?
So right now I'm trying to I don't want to change too much because obviously I still love interacting with people and I don't want to be a part of, I personally would not want to have a chat that's like with several hundred people, like a major Genshin content creator. And you can't even read every message and people are just like spamming, like memes and stuff. And when you chat, because when I go to those chat rooms and I post something, it feels like you're shouting into a void, right? Like, I don't want people to feel like that. And like, I'm not going to read their message. And personally, I would want to hear from
You
other
like to
people.
hear from
So,
every single person. You like to interact with them.
exactly.
Yeah, I think there's an
Yeah.
authenticity of your streams from the ones that I visited. And it's just, you say you're not an interesting person or maybe you're not exciting, but I think that the charm in any streamer, and you have the same thing, which is just like you're just being you, I think. Maybe a
Mm-hmm.
more performative version of you where you have to obviously play a game. And also when you see a thing, you might be a little bit more excited than you would if you're just sitting in the dark and playing the thing. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
overall, like your excitement, if like something happens in Genshin and you're like, oh, that's actually really cool, that's mostly
Mm-hmm.
coming from a real place, like I
Yes.
think you would
Oh, yeah,
fangirl
of
and freak
course.
out, even if your cat was the only one in the room,
Yes. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. My last question, and I know we got to move on to the movie, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
we have a real celebrity in the house today, everyone. But and also, I'm very curious
Wait.
about the streaming world. So the thing that I've been more curious about is that
Mm-hmm.
I find a lot of Twitch streamers, and I don't spend a lot of time on Twitch anymore. It's a hard place for me to be on these days because it's such a, depending on where you go and a lot of the places that you go, it's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
toxic people and it's
Yep.
hard to want
Uh-huh.
to be there.
For
It's
sure. Yep.
kind of ruined in an alternate dimension. I thought of myself as someone who could be a streamer, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
I could be if I wasn't looking at the chat, which I think is like 60% of the work in being a streamer.
Yeah. Yep.
So the question for me is, or for you, is that do you find that you had to narrow down and be more of like you are a Genshin Impact streamer and that's it, and that's how your following was able to like grow? Or do you find people like kind of pop in whatever game you play? Or is it that they found you through Genshin and then they follow you to whatever other game?
Oh, that's a good question. That's honestly something that I'm asking myself too, because I will say that it is faster to grow if you do have a focus instead of like playing several games at a time. But there are variety streamers and there are variety streamers that are successful. But personally, I've found that yeah, a lot of my growth and my following came from uh streaming and playing Genshin Impact, which makes sense because for those who are unaware of Genshin, it is a free to play game. It is, I guess, like I would even call it a mainstream game. It's constantly updated, so there's always new content coming out. I think that it is dying a little.
Is it
Like there's
really?
not. Well, okay, let's put it this way. There's not as much hype around it as when it first came out, obviously. And I do think that uh Hoyoverse, the pace at which uh, the developers are putting content out, it is a little slower than I think some people have the patience for.
Mm.
And, there are even issues right now, like a lot of Genshin players will understand what I mean when I say, like, when you're AR 60, which is like, that's like basically your world level or like your rank, whatever, they actually have a cap instated right now where you can't proceed past AR 60. So people that have put a lot of money into the game or who have just been playing like such a long time and are close to AR 60 or have already reached AR 60, there's basically nothing for them to do in the game. So
Oh.
it's very, like, how do you justify to yourself? Like, what is there to come back to until they release, more content? and a lot of the content that's been released recently is, they come out with new characters, but it's a lot of small events. Some people would say they're even like annoying, not worth doing. So I think a lot of people have moved on for the time being, and they'll come back for the next major update, which is when the next world region is released.
Okay, that made somewhat sense. I don't play Genshin Impact, but I think it makes sense in broad strokes here. I think to me, and you can tell me how you feel about this. Actually, I'm much more interested in how you feel, because you used to play a variety of different games. I know you kind of do now,
Right,
but
yeah.
like, do you feel as though you're no longer able to play the games that you want to play anymore, and that you feel like you're tethered to Genshin? And I know you like Genshin Impact. That's one of the games that I'm like, that took you away from your first love, Legend of Zelda, and your other love, Sonic the Hedgehog. And I know you like it a lot.
Don't get it twisted, fam.
I won't. It's right up your alley. Sexy anime girls and boys fighting. I understand, and there's a story, and I don't understand. Like, I on my Twitter, first, I don't know why it's just always you, but I'm like, why is there Genshin Impact on my Twitter? And it's like, Winnie's liked something, Winnie's retweeted something, and it's like the only interaction that I have on my Twitter timeline for Genshin Impact. But there's so much of it that I'm like, oh, here we go. Winnie's just liking these, I don't know, two characters shipping together or whatever it is.
Wow, you'd expose me like that, fams.
yeah, I had to say it. But anyways, my original question to you, do you feel as though you're stuck playing the same game, even though you enjoy that game?
So I personally don't feel stuck. I think that, if a time or a point came where I did get fed up with Genshin, I'm a very, what's it called? I would say I'm pretty transparent and very easy to read, and I don't ask for a lot. So if there's like a game that I no longer enjoy, I'm not going to force myself to play it, even if it is, like something that I guess helped me to get to where I am today. So, and it's not like I haven't streamed other games in the past as well. Like, I actually streamed quite a bit of Osu, which is a rhythm game. Love that game. Love playing it off stream. I also streamed. I gave Final Fantasy X a try. I don't think it's for me.
I don't think that's for you. I could have told you that at the beginning.
Hey, it was worth a shot. Okay.
Yeah.
The story was interesting. It's just the gameplay. And I've played, like, actually something that I'm hoping to do like every year is last year for the month of June, because June is Sonic's anniversary month. So I played Sonic Adventure 2 for on stream. Amazing. Which was really, really fun. Hoping to play another Sonic game this June. But yeah, I've definitely played other games on stream.
Well, you're gonna run out in a few years, because there's only like 3 good Sonic games. We can talk about that later.
yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they come out with the next Sonic game by then that is decent.
I think isn't there supposed to be one this year? Sonic Frontiers, is that this year? Anyways,
I don't know if it's this year or next year, but
I'll look it up.
I'll believe it when I see it. I've adjusted my expectations accordingly, and when it comes to Sonic Team, I have to see it to believe it. Yeah, I understand. Well, hey, this was a great conversation about streaming. We got other things to talk about, including Sonic. Before we do, I want to go through some rapid fire pop culture headlines now. Winnie was like, be easy on me, because you don't you don't follow pop culture like I do. I don't follow anything.
Well,
I live under a rock.
I mean, you're very knowledgeable on Genshin Impact, let me tell you that. So.
No, I think even when it comes to current events, my friends have to tell me what's going on.
You don't know the current story and lore of Genshin Impact right now, and how I don't know. I was gonna start making up names. Piedmon? No.
Actually, Paimon, yeah, it's Paimon. No, actually, my friends actually always make fun of me. They're like, oh, like Win is like 3 patches behind. So,
oh my
make of that what you will.
Okay, how about this? Let me hit you with some easy stuff here. Winnie, what do you think about this is ridiculous. This is just a fluff piece here, but some Florida man watched Spider-Man No Way Home 292 times to reclaim Guinness World Record. So that's 720 hours of Spider-Man. Apparently, this person spent like thousands of dollars at the theater to do that.
What?
How do you feel about this?
I don't know what part of that sentence to feel more in awe of, whether the 720 hours or the 292 times, or the fact that this person did it to reclaim the title, which means that they previously held it. And I don't even want to know what that record is, because, combined, that is a lot of Spider-Man No Way Home watch time.
Yeah, listen, I love Spider-Man No Way Home. I really do. But I struggle to think of any movie out there that I'd watch that many times in theater. Like, is there any, what would your movie be that you'd have to choose? What movie would it be?
Honestly, I'm not a movie person, Tongue, which is very ironic that we're here talking about the Sonic 2 movie. I don't think I could even watch the Sonic 2 or the Sonic 1 movie for that long.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a ridiculous thing. What about a K-drama? Could you watch
a K-drama? No, I don't watch a lot of TV in general, or a lot of yeah.
I was gonna say you've changed, but you really haven't. You really don't watch any of that stuff. This reminds me that when he was on our top 5 anime for beginner episodes of Ranked, another Pod Cavern show, and pretty much every nomination that wasn't hers, she was like, I haven't seen it. And I'm like, why did we invite her again?
Yikes, spams.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, what else do we have here? Let's see. The other stories that I have are, again, not that important especially with the current climate of the world. There's a lot of important stories, but let's go into some more fluff pieces here. Winnie, I know you don't care, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Do you care about Thor, Love and Thunder, the new trailer? Have you seen it? Probably not. But do you care about
I haven't, but I did see the thumbnail on my YouTube recommended.
That's
so I know it exists.
More than I thought you'd see.
Wait, but what is it about? Is it like a sequel or a prequel? Or?
No. Okay, I'm gonna give you the crash course here. Actually, no, I don't want to bore you and the audience, because they're like, I want to hear you talk about Sonic, for God's sake. But Thor is the 4th movie of Thor. So this is he's the only Marvel hero who's gotten a 4th movie, which is really cool. But this one takes place after all of the Endgame stuff and whatnot and all that other stuff. So the hook of this movie is that there is Natalie Portman, who was his love interest in the first Thor movie and the second Thor movie. She is getting the power of Thor in this one. So she has the hammer. That's like kind of like the big thing, that she's also Thor in her own way. In the comics, she is the mighty Thor. It's a really cool thing. So anyways, I don't want to nerd out too hard. I know a lot of I won't even say fanboys, but a lot of toxic people on the internet are obviously mad because they're like, why are you making my favorite superhero into a female? That type of thing. And that's the worst part of all of this stuff, is seeing people in 2022 act like that, Yeah.
So I have a friend who would respond to that with, that's fan behavior. And I think that is fan behavior.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Other big franchises that I just need to talk about real quickly here is that, first of all, Jason Momoa, if you know him, he's going to be in a Minecraft movie. And the big headline here is that there's going to be a Minecraft movie. And I don't even know what that is. Did you play Minecraft ever? I never did.
Yeah, I did. Wait, you never did?
I never did. It's one of those games that I'm like Fortnite, one of those like big games that I'm like, it's too big. I don't want to touch it.
Interesting. Yeah. I can see why people think it's overwhelming, but I personally really enjoyed it. But I'm not a creative person, so I personally really, really enjoyed the exploration. But not even like the survival exploration, just like going into creative mode and flying around and just exploring the world while you're invulnerable. That was the peak of Minecraft gameplay for me.
So if you played a lot of Minecraft, what do you want out of a Minecraft movie? I know you don't watch movies, but like what is that? What is even a
Mm-mm.
Minecraft movie about?
I I really couldn't tell you. I'm trying to think right now because yeah, it's not like Minecraft has a big story, right?
Well, there's Minecraft Steve. That's all I know is a thing, but I don't even
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what the deal with that is. So
Minecraft Steve is a Smash character, right?
that's why I know him.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm
Okay.
excited to find out. Hopefully, the Minecraft movie can be can not make Minecraft fans cringe.
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully it's good.
Hey, you know what? We got a good Sonic movie, so maybe one
That's
day we can
true.
get a good
Yeah.
Minecraft movie. The other two
Hmm.
stories I'm going to rapid fire here is Johnny Depp will never return to Pirates of the Caribbean. There's a huge thing going on right now.
Oh
I'm
wow.
hesitant to touch it, but there is a trial going on
Hmm.
right now with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard,
Yeah.
and it's it's a big headache. I would say there's a lot going on, so
Yeah.
we don't have to touch that. Let's talk
Hmm.
about really quickly. I need to bring this up because I relish at just poking holes at this franchise, which is the Fantastic Beasts franchise, the Harry Potter spin-off movies,
Ooh.
and how the new Fantastic Beasts movie is like the lowest point of out of all the movies. It got a very low
Hmm.
opening weekend. It hasn't made a lot of money. Do you like Harry Potter at all, Winnie? Like without all of the I know it's hard to separate it sometimes, but like the J.K. Rowling
Yeah.
stuff, like how do you feel about Harry Potter, I guess?
So I don't have strong feelings because obviously, there are a lot of people out there in the world that consider themselves Potterheads, right? That's the term,
Okay,
right?
yeah, I think you're right. I'm only saying that because I'm like I don't know if I'm a Potterhead, so I don't know if
Yeah,
I
but
can.
yeah. So like I personally enjoyed the movies. I don't think I even read like all of the books. I read the couple, the first few before they started getting too big to fit into an elementary school backpack. I enjoy the movies for what they are worth, but I don't think I would go out of my way to watch Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, they're terrible.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I brought it up. Is
Oh,
like the first
oh.
movie was okay. It had Fantastic Beasts in it, and then the
Hmm.
second movie, you're like, what's happening? And they're trying to do like a whole Dumbledore. They stopped
Right. Yeah.
doing Fantastic Beasts, but the movie is called Fantastic Beasts. That's kind of the
Oh,
whole thing.
wait, what
Yeah.
is the movie actually about
Well,
then?
that's the thing is like I think there's a opportunity in these movies to do some like Indiana Jones. I'm not making this up. I've heard someone else say this. And I'm kind of repeating it, like Indiana Jones type adventure where you're like running
Hmm.
into some fantastical creatures and
Yeah.
magic around. But instead, they're like, what if we explore Dumbledore and Grindelwald, like these like big character names in the original Harry Potter?
Yes, yeah.
And that's what they're doing in a movie called Fantastic Beasts. So
I
yeah,
see.
yes, it's
I
very
see.
confusing. I mean, Ezra Miller, who's in those movies, I don't think you know who that is, but like this person is the Flash in the DC extended universe.
Oh.
He is in these WB Harry Potter movies too, and he's
Yeah.
been in big trouble in Hawaii just
Oh,
recently. Yeah, he's like been arrested twice as of this recording. WB,
wait,
yes,
why?
he's like I don't want to make up stories, but I think he's harmed people in a drunken fit. And now
Oh.
they're like, oh man, one of our big stars at Warner Brothers is doing all these stuff, and we should probably not
Yeah.
advertise him anymore. So it's a
Yikes.
yikes fam. It's a yikes fam moment.
Hmm.
The last thing I'll bring up before we talk about Sonic, and this is just a quick story here, but it seems too big to not talk about, which is Netflix stock records is hits its biggest one-day drop ever after losing 200K subscribers. That amounts to about $54.3 billion in market share value. And also,
Oof.
among all of this Netflix stuff, there's a lot of stuff happening with Netflix right now. One
Hmm.
being that they're getting a lot of flack because they're like, yeah, we're trying to crack down on password sharing. So
Yeah, I
people
heard of
can't share
that.
their passwords.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're cutting basically most of Netflix animation, which is kind of the thing I care most about.
Wow.
So I'm gonna
I did
put
not
it
know about that.
yeah, it's bad in the way I'm gonna put it in context. So I have an animation friend who's worked on several amazing shows, and
Mm-hmm.
she's telling me in the industry, people are getting like worried and upset, rightfully so, because Netflix was supposed to be their haven. And what I mean by this was in the
Yeah.
last handful of years, Netflix made a push to make amazing animated content for their streaming service. They've come out with
Yeah.
some really great movies like Klaus, like Mitchell's versus the Machines. There's a Cuphead show that just happened. There's a lot of
Wow.
interesting things that were coming out of Netflix animation. They basically just said, just one day, cut it all. Like, we're not moving forward with a lot of projects that they promised people. And this was
Oh
supposed to
man.
be a spot where, because like, it's hard to make animated things for Hollywood. That exists already.
Yes.
Okay. But
Yes.
Netflix animation and streaming service open doors for other creators to make smaller
Mm-hmm.
projects and show their
Mm-hmm.
worth. But if you don't have a platform to do that, then that all goes away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, I would say. Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
It
Yeah.
is unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But hey, let's talk about something more positive in the world. We're talking about the Blue Blur himself. And we're talking about what movie, Wit?
The Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie.
You're never going to get my power.
Do I look like I need your power?
Where are my manners? Sonic, meet Knuckles.
Oh, baby. And now I'm playing City Escape in my head. Bow, 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 bow. Okay, all right.
A worthy song to have in your head playing at this moment.
I am
Yep.
just upset that you know what, they have time. They're basically building a Sonic universe. So it's yeah.
I know.
And I'm pretty sure like did I make up that they're making like a Knuckles spin-off or something like that? Like a show?
I feel
can't
like
remember.
I saw that
Remember
too.
that? Yeah. I feel like I should have looked at that in advance. I didn't. I'm sorry. Let's talk about. We already kind of talked about your love for Sonic. I'll say mine really quickly is that
Yeah.
I really fell in love with Sonic. I didn't have a Sega growing up, and I didn't care for and people might give me flack for this, but I didn't really care for the original Sonic games. Like, I don't think they aged very well compared to like Mario games, for example. Like, there's nostalgia as part of it, and Sega continuously keeps releasing those games to us as if they're like something we've never seen. Sonic Origins just got announced, which is
I know.
Here is the same games we keep releasing, but again.
Yeah, honestly, the classic games are. I'll probably get a lot of flack for this too, but I personally did not enjoy the original classic games either.
Yeah. And you know what? I know Sonic Mania, that's when they're like, Sonic Mania is such a good throwback to the originals and it's great. And they modernize it and all this other stuff too. And I played some of Sonic Mania and I'm like, it's okay. I just don't like that format of game very much.
Yeah.
But Sonic really came to its own for me when I played Sonic Adventure, like the first one. And I loved it. I freaking just adored it. I just, I was the right age where I'm like, this edgy hedgehog and look at all this, like in Sonic Adventure 1, like it's a huge map, or at least it was back in the day, and you're traveling through it and it's really cool. And the levels were moody and it felt like adults, but it also catered for kids. And then Sonic Adventure 2 came out and you're like, who's this hedgehog with a gun?
Well, I don't think the gun was a thing back then, but
it's true. But who's this black hedgehog? And like all these other exciting things happen. And then those two games together really, really got me into the Sonic mood. And I played Sonic games for way too long afterwards, chasing the high of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Like Sonic Heroes was okay. And then it starts going downhill. Sonic Unleashed was also just okay. And then I played this Legend of the Seven Rings or whatever it was called. And then I played some of Sonic Colors, which everyone said it was amazing. And then I played some of the, like, just a month or two ago. And I'm like, I can't, it's not good. I'm sorry. It's not that great a game. So there's been a lot of bad Sonic games is kind of what I'm trying to get at here.
Yes.
Well, I've had
there is that rep attached.
There is that rep attached. And it's an amazing achievement that the Sonic movies somehow, despite all of this, is better than basically all of the games that have come out in the last 2 decades.
Yeah, I can't argue with that there.
And that's just going against the odds too, because you also have video game movies which are not really successful most of the time. They usually review bad and they get a little bit of money, and a sequel is not usually greenlit.
Yeah.
But Sonic
That's
is getting is like a universe, which is like, whoa,
I know.
what? Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's insane to think about.
Wild.
The last Sonic memory, my very first Sonic memory, before we actually talk about the movie, is that back in grade 4, I want to say, or grade 3, I can't remember exactly which one, elementary school, there was a teacher who, if you did your homework, you get to like pick out a comic from his comic stash and keep it, which I thought was a really cool thing. So
that is such a good deal.
It is such a good deal. So I did my homework, obviously, and I got the first Sonic comic as the thing that I pulled out. And I was like, this is amazing. But I was not old enough to know what that meant. Like, I had no idea. It's just like, this is the first Sonic comic. It was in pretty damn good condition, whatever it was. And another person, and I'll never forget this.
Oh no.
Spencer, that's what his name is. I haven't talked to him since. Anyways, this person pulls out another Sonic comic, but was much more recent. The art style's not as good, but it's not the first edition one. It's not the OG.
Oh my God.
And this guy is like, hey, I'll trade you. I'll give you $2 this Sonic comic and, like, you know those Lunchable snackables? Yes. And to me, I was like, are you kidding me? $2? Another comic and a Lunchable snackable? I'm all on top of this. And it took me years later to realize I got fucking scammed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. And snackables, they don't hold up either. I'm sorry, everyone.
No, they don't.
They're not very good. Okay, Sonic 2, Winnie, I want you to talk about, I guess, you want to give us like the synopsis of the movie, and then we can get into our feelings, and then we can get into spoiler territory a little after.
Sure. Yeah. Even though I watched this movie like less than 24 hours. Yeah. Yesterday. Let me see sorry, I'm having the memory of a goldfish. So, and by the way, there will be, if you haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog 1, there will be a few spoilers for that movie, naturally, because, this is a sequel, a continuation. So, all right. So let's see. Basically, so what happens in the movie is we start off with Eggman, or Dr. Robotnik, and we see that he has been, beamed to the Mushroom Planet after the events of the first movie, being sent there by Sonic, and he's trying to find a way back to Earth, and he, I guess, is like what's that word? Intercepted by these people, but he takes them out, and then out of a ring, a portal appears, and out of that portal comes Knuckles.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and Knuckles asks him, because Eggman has been trying to, I guess, like, he has one of Sonic's quills, and Sonic has this, like, he has this powerful energy within him, and it can be manifested through that quill. So Knuckles asks Robotnik, where did you get that quill from? And Robotnik tells him, of course, that, if you on a planet called Earth, I can take you there if you can help me out. And that's how the movie begins. And then back on Earth, we see that, Sonic is so it starts out with Sonic in Seattle, and there's like a robbery happening or whatever. And Sonic is doing what he does. He's trying to be a hero. He's causing chaos wherever he goes. But in the end, everyone is saved and the robbery is prevented, right? So nothing. So what else? What else could go wrong, right? At least that's what Sonic thinks. But of course, there's a lot of collateral damage, people that almost got hurt. Things just happen to work themselves out. And of course, Sonic is staying with Maddie and Tom, who we met in the first movie. Tom is the Donut Lord, the cop who originally discovered Sonic and has since taken him in.
James Marsden's character. That's the actor's name. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And so, we see Sonic sneaking back into the house. Like he's literally like their kid. Like he has his own room. Him and Tom go fishing together, and Tom pulls out this article and tells him and asks him, "So what were you up to last night?" and stuff. and Sonic tries to play it off, but then Tom tells him you can't just go around trying to do heroic things and not owning the consequences of your actions. And he basically says that being a hero is about taking responsibility for others. And Sonic does his best to understand. And Tom tells him, you got to wait for your heroic moment to come. It's not yet, but it will happen someday. And then him and Maddie, go off to Hawaii to attend her sister's wedding or whatever. And Sonic, gets the place to himself for the weekend. So then after that, Robotnik comes back and brings Knuckles with him. And they go straight to Sonic. And it looks like things are pretty bad for Sonic because, Knuckles is a lot stronger than he is. But Sonic is also stubborn. But he gets saved by Tails. And we find out that Tails came to Earth because he actually... he was able to pick up energy waves from Sonic's energy, just from running around and stuff. And Tails really looks up to him, but then he realized, with his technology that Knuckles was coming for him, and so Tails traveled across the galaxy to warn him. So they escape and form a friendship, and then they realize that Knuckles is here looking for what's known as the Master Emerald, which is this super powerful gem, and anyone who has that in their possession can basically do whatever they want because the emerald turns their thoughts into reality. So they realize that from a message from Sonic's, I guess, old, not really old mom, but old caretaker, that, the emerald is super important, and once they find it, they must protect it. Otherwise, Earth will be in danger if it falls into the wrong hands. So they go looking for it. And then, of course, they're intercepted by Eggman and Knuckles. And Knuckles, realizes that because Knuckles' story is he's looking for the emerald because back in the day, the emerald used to belong to his race, the Echidnas. But the owls, which Sonic's caretaker was an owl, the owls took charge of it because they didn't want it to fall into the wrong hands and they wanted it to remain neutral. And we find out that in the same fight where Sonic was teleported to Earth and he basically lost his caretaker or his mom, I really don't know what to call her. Knuckles also lost everything in that war. He lost his father, his family, his entire tribe. And so that's why Knuckles was coming for Sonic, because he thinks that he's the one responsible for all that. But, they find out that they have more in common than they realize. Yeah. And then, so then, more stuff happens. Sonic ends up in Hawaii with Tails because, they're in a life or death situation. And they basically ruin Maddie's sister's wedding. But then it turns out that the person Maddie was, oh gosh, we're getting into spoiler territory now, I think.
Oh, we're getting spoiler territory. So, maybe we'll pause there.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's plenty to go on right now.
That is a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot to go on. We don't want to get into full spoilers yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a really good, beginning of the film type of stuff. I mean, of course, Knuckles starts developing later in the movie as well. And I also think ultimately Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 are kids movies. So it's even if you get spoiled, I don't know how important it is. It's not like watching the latest Marvel film where you're like, don't tell
For
me.
sure.
Is Sonic, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that happened? Cool. Like, that's what I.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
I could see that coming, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So before we go more into that, I'm curious. So you liked the first Sonic movie, right?
I did.
And you never went back and watched it a second time. Is that true?
I did not, but that's more of a me thing.
Yeah.
As we've already established, I
Yes.
don't watch a lot of things. So.
Even stuff I remember when Winnie watched it and she was telling me, she's like, I loved it. I loved it. And I'm like, when are you going to see it again? She's like, I probably won't see it again.
Yeah.
But you did like it, which is great. You know what's interesting is that I saw this movie a few weeks ago, so some of it is now a little bit more blurry for me.
Yeah.
But I think the first movie was very much like I'm going to explain this terribly, but I always felt like it was like Sonic in like a regular human comedy movie. Like there's definitely Sonic stuff happening, but like a lot of the characters was just like humans doing stuff and Sonic being used to this new world that he got teleported in and that kind of stuff, right? So he's just like, you have this magical being who can do all this stuff, but everyone else around him are like regular people. Where in this movie, it's like, no. It's like the complete opposite, I would say. That it's just like now you're getting introduced to like some pretty big Sonic characters, Tails and Knuckles.
Absolutely.
And getting to know more about the lore about Echidnas and the Master Emerald. It's much more of a video gamey movie than the first one was.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I think you explained that like very well, because you're right. That didn't even occur to me, because it's been so long since I've seen the first Sonic movie. But yeah, and the first one, basically it was him, getting used to human life, being discovered by the humans, getting closer to Tom and Maddie, and like discovering all that there is on Earth. But yeah, in the second movie, he meets Tails and Knuckles, who are almost as major in the series as Sonic himself, basically. And, like you mentioned as well, with the Master Emerald, we're finding out more about the lore. And, there is lore that is not canon to the actual games, because, in the games, there is Sonic doesn't really have a family. His origins aren't really explained or clarified.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because that's the thing, is Sonic also has his comic books too, and I haven't really read that many of them, and I don't really remember that stuff too, so I'm not sure what stuff is real, but obviously it's kind of like a blend of all of the stuff that Sonic's ever been in, right?
Yeah, that's true, because it's cool that you mentioned that, because I totally forgot about the comics. But yeah, there are different forms of Sonic media. So obviously we have the games, which I refer to as personally as the most canon, because Sonic started in games, so I think that just makes the most sense.
It's fair, but it's still the worst medium for him to be. It's like the movies are good, the comics are good, the games suck somehow. I don't understand.
And like the comics are very rich in story and have a very there's so many characters in the comics, the original comics. I mean, that's another thing. You have the original comics, the Archie comics, and then you have the IDW comics, which is like the latest iteration of comics.
Oh my god, I can't even keep up with that. And then there's the TV shows that they had, like Sonic X. Like I used to watch the shit out of that show.
Sonic X was wild, and not necessarily in a good way. And then you have Sonic Boom, which was our actual cartoon one.
Can't talk about that one. I hate the design. I heard it's good. I heard it's good. I hate the designs of those characters in Sonic. I think Knuckles looks stupid. Come on, Knuckles looks stupid. Come on.
I think that they have unique designs that aren't necessarily for anyone.
You're a very kind person to say that, but and people, Knuckles is like tall. He's on steroids. It's like, what?
Oh my god. But yeah, and then you have like Sonic Underground, which is like a 90s cartoon, which was also really cool, but has no relation to anything else that we've talked about. So, and then now you have this movie universe as well. So, which is, has differences.
Yeah. So, I think there's a lot of questions I want to ask you. Let's start with we have Tails, we have Knuckles. What did you think about their inclusion in this movie? Because like Tails himself is voiced by the original voice actress since I think 2014. Colleen O'Shaughnessy is her name. And that's really cool that they got like a video game voice actor to voice Tails. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah.
And then we have Idris Elba voicing Knuckles, which is
Yeah.
another conversation.
Also amazing.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about it right now. Did you like his portrayal of Knuckles in the movie?
I did. And you know, I feel like some people always say that, like in the movies, Knuckles was done dirty because, you know, he's portrayed as very simple, I guess, and doesn't talk a lot, kind of doesn't have a way with words, prefers to speak with his actions, I guess. And, you know, overall, Knuckles kind of has a rep of being, very gullible. Even in the original games, it's canon that he's gullible. Believes, originally he believes
tricked.
Eggman.
He's constantly
tricked. Constantly believes Eggman and when he says that Sonic is public enemy number one and stuff. But I thought that it was accurate and that it was true to his original character. And you know, just because he doesn't speak a lot, or just because he is more simple-minded than Sonic or Tails, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, you know?
No, I actually did like Knuckles in this movie. I think Idris Elba did a pretty good job with Knuckles' voice. I liked when he ever like, do you think I need your power?
That was really good.
Badass and shit. Like, I like that. I felt like his Knuckles portrayal, this is me personally, like his voice sometimes didn't always work for me. I don't know what it is. Maybe in his comedic moments, like sometimes his voice was like very tough and badass, which I really liked that side of Idris Elba's like voice acting for Knuckles. But whenever Knuckles was saying more words in a row or had something more to say that was not just like, I'm gonna beat you up kind of thing, it felt a little bit, I don't know, something about it just felt like it didn't really match, I suppose.
Yeah,
so that's how I felt.
I can see that.
Yeah, but like
that makes sense.
The character arc for Knuckles was completely in line with what I know of Sonic and what I would want out of this movie. Same with Tails. Like Tails and like Tails and Sonic are best friends. That's how they are in the video games. And I'm like, how are you gonna make like? I guess they're still kids in this, so this is the first time they're meeting. So I'm like, how are you gonna make them best friends off the top? And they do it, and it's so cute.
For sure. Like, I feel like for some people it might be too I guess like what's the word, like maybe it's not deep enough, I guess, because you know, to some people they might be like, oh, like how are you just gonna, you know, travel across the whole galaxy and give up your home and stuff for someone that you haven't even met and you know nothing about, and you only see that they have like an immense amount of power, you know? I can see some people saying that, but I think that again, from what we know of Tails, like, and especially because it's a movie, right? You have such limited time to introduce the characters, introduce the plot, establish and build the world, right? And I think that maybe it's also because I and you as well, Tong, also know more about Sonic and Tails from the games, so that's kind of already established and rooted for us, right? But I personally think that it was done very well. And when they were, you know, like on the adventure together, like up in the mountains,
when they're wearing their little cute suits together and dancing, like,
and the dance, and then especially like I remember feeling so touched when you know, it's the end of the night and Tails just goes and like Sonic's like, oh, you know, like we should spend the night here and get some rest, and Tails just like passes out in front of the fire, and you can kind of tell like he's used to like being alone and like fending for himself, and then Sonic puts the blanket over him like a big brother, and then Sonic like lies down next to him and is like good night, and like turns over, and Tails like come up and like, you know, act as a blanket for him too.
I can feel you welling up inside just thinking about it.
That was so cute.
It is. I think there's moments in this film. I'm gonna like they're like I was just thinking because you brought up like them in the mountains and things like this, and I
Mhm.
guess we are kind of spoiling like very minor things. Again, I think it's a movie that you can't really spoil completely except for the ending. I think you can spoil that part, which we will.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
which is like at the end of the day, this movie is made for kids. It is. It's made for
Yes,
kids and for parents and family. Like I'm not a parent, but if I was a parent, I'd be happy to bring my kid to this movie because it's something that
for
we can
sure.
all enjoy. Is there
Yes.
humor in this movie that I think is cringe? Yes. I think there
Yep.
is definitely moments where I'm like, yep, that's not for me. It's for kids. I have to remind myself, like, because there's like, I don't know. It's I'm thinking of like Jim Carrey, and I'm going to bounce to him for a second, who I think is
Mhm.
phenomenal as Dr.
Yep.
Robotnik in the first movie
100%.
and in this movie. Now, do I
Yes.
think it's an accurate portrayal of what I think Dr. Robotnik is? Absolutely not. He's basically just Jim Carrey, but he did such a good job that I don't even care. I don't even want that other Eggman personality in these movies. I want
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, right? And I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. But some of the lines that he's made to say, and even Sonic and some of these other characters are so like, oh boy, like they're really pandering to like this era that we live in, like
Yes.
2022, of like, here
Yeah.
are some modern references that I'm going to hit you with. And things like them, even at the very end of the movie, Jim Carrey goes, later haters. And I'm like, oh my, like you would never see Dr. Robotnik in the game say that, you know?
No, no.
There's things
But
like that.
it
Yeah,
works because it's Jim Carrey.
exactly. But he does such a good job that I can like
Mhm.
just forgive that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, Jim Carrey has said a few times now, and I'm not sure how true it is, that this might be his last movie. Now, Sonic 2 was the
Oh.
biggest opening weekend of his entire career, like a
What?
grossing
Really?
weekend. I mean, like, it is a huge franchise now, Sonic, right? I forget how much money it made, but it made, let's see, weekend box office at $71 million. Like, people
Oh
went to
my
go
God.
see this movie. And I'm not sure how your movie theater experience was, but mine
Mhm.
had, and I shit you not, it had like 12 10-year-olds or something where there was no parent supervision. I remember this vividly because I saw it on opening night, and a bunch of parents just dropped off their kids. And I'm like, oh no, they're here to see Sonic. And they were sitting in the back row, and it was just pure chaos. Like there's
Oh my God.
12, 7 to 12 years. I'm really bad with age. They were
Yeah.
kids for sure. And they were talking throughout most of the movie.
Oh
They were
no.
switching seats at one point, which I find very bizarre. Like they just got up, started switching seats and like throwing popcorn at each other, having a
Oh
blast.
boy.
And then I'm like, fuck, as a 32-year-old, I'm not going to go up to these group of kids and be like, hey, quiet down as I'm trying to watch Sonic the Hedgehog 2 here. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't make sense because it is a kid's movie. And also, I was afraid they'd throw popcorn at me. So I guess my question to you, going back to that thought, was like, did you have many kids at your showing?
It's interesting that you mentioned that. So I didn't go opening weekend. I usually like wait for things to chill out a little. So I went yesterday, and it's been 2 weeks since opening night. 2 weeks to the day actually when I went. And yeah, I would say it was pretty good. There weren't a lot of people. I think it was actually one of the smaller theaters. But I do remember vividly that there were two kids with their dad in one of the rows. And I remember at the end of the movie, like they were so, oh my gosh, wait, okay. Without spoiling anything, at the end of the movie, they were so excited. I could hear them like talking and like cheering at the, the post-credit scene. They were like, oh my God, it's whomever shows up. and when they got up, I saw that they actually had, so for I don't know who knows, but Build-A-Bear actually has a Sonic movie toy.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, yeah.
It probably cost a
Personally,
fortune.
it's not. It cost $35. I know
what?
because I went to the mall beforehand and I actually saw it. And I was considering buying it, but then I was like, no, it's movie Sonic. I don't know. I don't really like movie Sonic's aesthetic. I prefer game Sonic. Yeah.
Well, he's such a different look. I mean, he is a more kid-like in this one, but like even the difference between Sonic 1 and 2, I do find like his design shifted a bit more. A little bit, like it seems more pronounced, like his features compared to the first time out. That's how I felt. And well, I mean, especially with the nightmare edit that we would have got before.
Yes. Yeah, the prototype. Yeah.
Like I imagine we still lived in a world where that Sonic was the one.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even
I don't think Sonic would be as successful if they kept to that version, to be honest.
That was the one time where the internet band together and got so angry at a thing that like something good happened. And some people were like, blah, blah, blah. Like it was a marketing tool, whatever they meant to do. I'm like, no, they did not. They had fucking toys made of the original Sonic design. And it looks disgusting.
R.I.P.
That said, I would love to see a nightmare cut of this movie with that Sonic. I think it would be hilarious. I think it'd be hilarious. But yes, going back to the movie, what are the moments in the movie that you really enjoyed? And then, of course, we'll save the last act of the movie for a little bit separate discussion because I know that's a big part of it.
I'm just trying to think. Obviously, like, the moment with Sonic and Tails and like that, that's the first night where their friendship like solidified and formed. And just trying to think of some other moments because there were definitely times where I felt myself like getting emotional, but I think it was more like even when the opening credits were running, I was thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, like this was all I wanted as like a little girl. Because back in the day, even though Sonic was, being sold on like Nintendo systems and stuff, which is, I guess, already in itself a shocker because, people think that there's this huge rivalry between Sega and Nintendo. But, Sonic wasn't that popular, I think. Sonic has never been that popular.
There was a time I think that Sonic was as popular as Mario, but like that quickly dissipated.
That was, I think, before, not to say before my time, but like, that was back when, in the 90s when the classic games were still the rage and stuff. It just, to me, it always felt like, I don't know, like, not that Sonic got the short end of the stick. I mean, he definitely did with some of those games that we, already discussed. But it just always felt like, compared to Mario or like Legend of Zelda or I don't even like all the other really super popular games. It didn't feel like there was as much Sonic merch or like as much Sonic content. It felt like you really had to dig to like find those things. And as someone who really, really enjoyed Sonic and really loved the characters and stuff, it was hard. And the fact that now there's a movie and people are like talking about Sonic and he, I guess in some way can be considered mainstream media. That's like so wild to me still.
It is crazy because there is a Mario movie coming out soon.
Yes, I heard of that.
And it is insane to think about that movie itself, I feel, has a lot of catch up for Sonic. Sonic is just like, it feels so obvious, but it feels bred to be a movie franchise because Sonic has specific lore and stuff through the games and the comics and things that you can pull from that are like exciting to be in a Sonic film, but there's enough things that you can do to like spin it on its head and make it your own, where Mario, like, what do you do with a Mario movie? All Mario has ever done is save Princess Peach from Bowser. That's the only thing. There's been a million phenomenal Mario games, and I say a million, but not that. Like, there's been a lot of Mario games that I love to death. but I've never been there for its story. Like, so to think about that, like, wow, Sonic the Hedgehog probably will still reign supreme. I'm going to call it right now over this Mario movie coming out. Like, that to me is really something, I guess.
I guess you could even say that Sonic is kind of like setting a new bar for video game movies.
It really is. I personally believe that it's the best video game movie. Like Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2.
Really?
Like, yeah, I mean, the video game movie, like, there's not much to choose from.
What about like Detective Pikachu? Wasn't that really good? I still haven't watched
better.
that.
Sonic's better. Yeah, Sonic's way better. That's my opinion. Detective Pikachu was pretty okay. Sonic's better. That's how I feel. And I mean, like, you have people like Jim Carrey and Ben Schwartz, who voices Sonic. Like, there's comedy in this movie that makes me smile. Again, some that makes me cringe. But because I'm able to transport my mind, because I'm an adult who's also a child, like into a child's like brain, when I see cool shit that I'm like, a kid would like this, because I'm also a kid, I say, I also like this right now, right? Like, things in this movie that like stood out to me, and of course they're going to do this, like the Easter eggs in the movie and things like that. Like Sonic just snowboarding, super cool.
Yes,
like,
that was so iconic.
It's iconic, and it's just like just those little things. Yeah, keep going. You go.
Oh, and then the first time, another thing that stood out to me was like the first time that, when Tails and Sonic are running away from Knuckles, and like, they're like, well, Sonic's driving a cop car, which seems insane to think about. But yeah, Tails is driving the cop car, and then like they like go off the edge of the cliff, and Tails uses his tails to fly and, picks Sonic. And, as they fly off into the moonlit night and stuff, it's like, wow, that's exactly what it looks like in the games. Yeah,
the way he's like helicoptering his tail is like,
and the way he's holding Sonic.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so many good nods to the video game. There's a few things that I'm like, I wish they used some of the sound effects from the old video games, like in the movie. Like, example, just a few examples, or just one example I'll give is that in the movie, Sonic is running out of air, and there's a fantastic moment where he slurps the oxygen bubble, and I'm like, why didn't you use the sound? Because like in the video games, there's a sound. It would have been perfect.
I actually think it would not have fit. I think
You don't think so?
That music's too dramatic.
Well, not the music, just the noise he makes when he gets the bubble. It's a specific. I'm not going to be able to replicate it. No, not the music. That is scary.
Oh, I know the sound that you're talking about. Yeah.
Just small little flourishes that I think would be cool. But like, honestly, that's like, I'm a sucker for those type of Easter eggs, especially because it's coming from video games.
The subtle references. Yeah.
Things like spin dashes, homing attacks, like all the Sonic like things like get me going, I guess.
Yeah.
And let's move on to like the final bit of the movie here with the big confrontation. Again, spoilers. But like Jim Carrey, also, we haven't mentioned this, but Jim Carrey's like sidekick dude is very funny. I found like the guy
Dr.
who
Stone, yes, I love him.
Very funny. He has a huge crush on his boss. It's very like he has like he's making like a cappuccino or something like that, and like drawing Jim Carrey in the coffee. It's very hilarious. Anyways, Jim Carrey has, I forget what it's called in the games. I think the robot has a type of name, like a big mean robot. I forget what it's called. It's a giant ass robot that Jim Carrey is wielding, because now he wields the power of the Master Emerald and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And we get a fun confrontation with the three heroes, Tails, Knuckles, and Sonic. Really fun to watch them kind of like move around, because they're all fast in their own way and like zipping around and helping each other out, which is
they all have their strengths.
Yes. Yeah. And it's super cute. But then shit goes down, and maybe you want to talk about that final fight, or specifically there's a moment in that fight that I was like, is this happening? And I went nuts in the theater, I'll be honest.
Yeah. So like from that first time, when Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are like making their stand against Eggman, you could like, because you can see from like the cutscenes that like, all like alone individually they can't take Eggman on, but then if they team up, then they can do it, And it really, yeah, that was a good moment as well, because when I saw the three of them together, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like Sonic Heroes. And I know you didn't think Sonic Heroes was that great of a game, Tom.
Was okay. Sonic Heroes was okay. It's no Sonic Adventure 2.
That's
but it's
valid, but
certainly better than all
the
other ones.
Okay,
after Sonic
I'll
Heroes.
take that. I'll take that. I personally really enjoyed Sonic Heroes, not to the same level as the adventure games, but Sonic Heroes is up there for me too. So, when I saw the three of them standing there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a Sonic Heroes moment. And even the egg robot that Eggman is controlling, that also like came from Sonic Heroes, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, just seeing that, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And then Tails and Knuckles Sonic acts as a distraction so that Tails and Knuckles can get inside the robot, and then Tails uses his wits to distract Eggman some more with copies of himself, and then finally Knuckles manages to punch the Master Emerald out of Eggman, which I thought was like a little like out there, but at the same time, I'll take it.
It's very Knuckles though, very brute strength approach to it, which is fun. Yeah. And then at that point, they're all pretty like spent, and the Emerald Master Emerald falls out of the robot and like a bit of a ways from Sonic, who's also like on his last legs, having gotten injured from the fight. And Sonic is like slowly making his way towards the Emerald, and the robot is like about to stomp on him, and then Maddie and Tom show up to save him, and then Sonic has the Emerald in his hands, and he's like, oh, I have it now, so I can save the situation. But then the Emerald falls apart. Yeah. And then Eggman is about to bring his robot foot down on Sonic, and Tom and Maddie, Sonic tells them, oh, you guys should go because he's the one that I want, right? But Tom and Maddie tell him, we're not going anywhere. We're a family, and you're our kid, which is super, super, super like sweet. It is sweet, although I will say it was always tough for me to be like, in the first movie, it seemed like you guys were more friends. And in this movie, you're really going for like, you're my kid, which I did suspend my disbelief for that moment, because it's very nice. Mm-hmm. Even later, we're like, okay, Dad. And I'm like, this seems weird, but okay.
Oh, yeah.
But continue. There's a big moment about to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the robot foot stomps down on them, and Tails and Knuckles are watching, and they're unable to do anything. But then suddenly the robot foot moves back up, and underneath it, we see the one and only Supersonic.
I can hear the excitement in your voice just talking about it. And I honestly was like, I saw it with a friend, and I'm like, oh my God, is this happening in this movie? They're doing it in this movie?
Yeah.
Because I thought they would be like, deep cut fighting chaos from from Sonic Adventure 1 as our first appearance of that the thing. You know what I mean? Like something but anyways, this was perfect for it. Supersonic, this is what we were talking about earlier, where he's literally Goku, because Supersonic is basically becoming
the spitting
a
image
Saiyan.
of yeah.
And it was a surreal moment to watch that on a big screen, because like Supersonic, I always felt was really, really cool because of the Super Saiyan, so close. Like he's flying, he's yellow, he's glowing, he's really, really strong. And the fact that I think he like stops like an arm with his own like
the robot arm. Yep.
Like so cool.
So effortlessly. Yeah,
so
I
cool.
know. And he also looks really, really good in the film. And what I mean by that is like, because Supersonic is like a very different image from Sonic himself. You know, he's like golden and like, he has like the spikes and stuff. But when I saw him flying in the air, when he first appeared, I was like, oh my gosh, he literally there's a scene in Sonic Unleashed. And I know, again, Sonic Unleashed is not really one of Sonic's finer games. I think, like people would say that.
It's okay. The werewolf stuff sucks, but everything else is good.
Yeah. But the rest of the game is good. But there is one scene where at the end of the game where, Supersonic appears, and he is like, suspended in the air. And when I saw that shot in the movie, I was like, it's like I'm watching the cutscene from Sonic Unleashed. It was wild.
Yeah. It was really cool. And even the effects, like after he beats Eggman and stuff, and he's like summoning lightning from the sky. I'm just like, this is so cool. And
Yeah.
I was just I loved it. I just love that
Mhm.
moment. It was such good fan service for me, and I know kids would like it too. And it's just
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
it was such a big win for all that stuff. Something you just
Hmm.
mentioned before with this whole Tom and what's his partner's name?
Maddie.
Maddie. I
Yeah.
will say the weakest part of the movie was it's not their fault because they basically try to write out the humans, some of the human characters in the
Yeah.
movie by like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
Hawaii now. Someone's getting married. There's a couple this wedding in Hawaii that is actually one of them is what's his name? Shimar Moore. I think he's from
I think so. Yeah.
very attractive man that everyone likes. What show is that? God, it's like a Criminal Minds. That's the one.
Oh.
Yeah, everyone goes crazy over this guy. Anyways, there's a minor B plot or C plot with those two. And they
Yes.
spend like 15 minutes on these two, which is funny. There's some good comedy in it. But I'm like, bring me back Sonic. I want to see Sonic in the Sonic movie and not these two.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Actually,
like,
you know what's interesting?
they're funny
Tom?
though. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I went to see Sonic with a friend as well. And she actually said, oh, I feel like that whole entire subplot was like meant for the adults. It was
I
the
can
humor
see that.
meant for the adults because, it's like about a wedding and kids don't usually care about, getting married and stuff. And, like it makes sense how they tie in because it turns out that he's like a gun agent or a GUN agent. And
Yeah.
GUN is, one of the organizations established in the Sonic world to take on Eggman and stuff. And yeah, even in the games, they kind of get things wrong some of the time with locking up the wrong people and stuff. So I liked that Easter egg and that tie-in as well.
I
But
don't mind it.
Found that
go ahead.
hilarious. I found I don't know the name of the actress, but Maddie's sister was amazing.
Yes.
I absolutely loved her.
Natasha Rothwell is her name. I'm just looking this up right
Mhm.
now. And I agree. Like the moments were funny, but it made me forget I was watching a Sonic film. And because
Mhm.
they spend I say so long, but really it amounts to 10 minutes or 15 minutes at
Yeah.
most, which, is a lot of time in a 2-hour film that's supposed to be about
Mhm.
Sonic and his friends. So I was just like, you know what? I'd rather see Dr. Robotnik's like sidekick friend who's in love with him because that actually ties into the
that's
plot.
valid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But anyways, so we have at the very end of the film, now they're all family. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails become friends. It's
Mm.
really fun. And now Knuckles is learning how to be like playing baseball with everyone else. And it's very cute. And I really like that. But we can't end the show until we talk about the freak out moment that you told me you had.
Yes.
And honestly, I had the same one. I was like one of the only people okay, there's the two freak out moments that I'm pretty sure I might have been the only one in the theater being like, oh, which was the Supersonic one. And then the post-credit scene, which you can
post-credit scene.
Go ahead and you can tell me. What is it?
Should I spoil it?
Of course, we've been spoiling everything else.
Oh my God. Okay. So basically, I don't even remember how it begins. All I remember is the last thing that you see on the screen, how it ends. But I think it's, okay. So basically the GUN officers are at the scene where, Supersonic and Eggman had their final stand because, there's a lot of debris. They're trying to find Eggman. And they're talking about how they can't find his body, but no one should have been able to survive that attack anyway. And then there's a cut to like Dr. Stone or Agent Stone, which is, Eggman's lackey, who is dressed as a GUN soldier who is also looking for him. And then one of the soldiers mentions that, when we were looking through our files on Eggman, we found something from 50 years ago, and it's related to a top secret experiment that never got released. And then they show Shadow the Hedgehog.
Project Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
I was joking with people that like, it'd be so funny if we got a Shadow the Hedgehog post-credit scene. And that's what I wanted, and that's what we got, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
For it. That's what
I know.
Like, of course, that's the post-credit for the third Sonic movie. And some people are like, it's too soon. I'm like, fuck, it's not that. It's the third movie. They should do it.
Yeah, and it makes sense because like even though there's obviously in the actual like games history or whatever, they did skip some stuff with like the chaos and stuff from Sonic Adventure 1, but I think it's fine. I think what happens in the movies is like a good stand-in for those events.
They should do that. They don't have to do those other things first. Like, I don't need to, like, I mean, it'd be hilarious, but we don't need to see Big the Cat. Like,
we don't.
We don't
Please,
we don't need to see Big the Cat. Like, I mean, he's thick as fuck and he's a big purple cat and he likes to fish, but like, do we need to see that on the screen? Probably not.
We don't.
Do we need to see Amy? I would say yes. That'd be great.
Yes. Yeah,
some female representation would be great, and she's a great character. So I think she would be her. Give me her and give me Shadow the Hedgehog for the next movie, and I'll be happy. Like some people were like, "Give me Metal Sonic," and I'm like, "You don't actually want Metal Sonic because Metal Sonic is not really a character. Like he is scary, but he's just I don't know." He's kind of like a Terminator. He's just like, he has a one-track mind of like, you know what I mean? Like Shadow the Hedgehog, he is the ultimate edgelord.
Oh my God.
He is so moody and so dramatic about everything. He's just like, what is my purpose? I'm the ultimate life form. And I've done a lot of Shadow the Hedgehog impressions back in the day. He goes,
oh my God,
I'm the coolest. Yes. So
oh my gosh, it's funny that you bring that up, Tom, because I feel like a lot of people that know me. So one time for one of my streams, I let my chat write a tweet for me as a reward for a fundraiser. And one of the tweets that they came up with that I had to write was, I believe it goes like, I'm not a furry, but I did have a crush on Shadow the Hedgehog when I was in the 6th grade.
Everyone did. He was the coolest thing. He was a black hedgehog. He was moody. He was edgy. He had like when he ran, he had like little rocket things that came out of his I don't know what happens, but
so mysterious.
And then he got his own game where he literally has a gun and like an AK-47 for some reason. And you're like, wait, what's happening? Why do you need that? Like,
they're swearing in that game too. It was the first.
Was it? There was a swearing in that game?
First in the there was.
What kind of swearing? Does he just go shit or like that kind of thing?
No. If I remember, I think he says like "damn" a few times when he dies.
Oh wow!
And
damn, that's my shot.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, tongue. No, okay, you have to say this. You have to say the iconic. Where's that damn 4th Chaos Emerald line?
I don't know how it goes, but I'll try. Where's that damn 4th Chaos Emeralds? Like
that was pretty close.
He talks like this, like, you know what I mean? Like, and he literally says, "I'm the coolest." I wasn't just saying that; he says that in Sonic Adventure 2,
he does.
And it's so funny to me. And he goes, "I'm the ultimate life form, and chaos control." All right, I'm gonna stop with these.
These are so cringy, but so good.
He's a very cringy character but in like he's also cool as shit because he's also the black hedgehog, you know.
Yeah, and of course, like like back in the day, it was like unheard of to have a character that was just as fast as Sonic, who could match him in speed, and also use like the power of the Chaos Emeralds and stuff, right?
Yeah. I hope in the sequel to the movie that they age Sonic and friends a little bit up, because I feel like Shadow is not a kid. Like in Sonic 2, they keep referring to him as a kid and he acts like one, and that's fine. He's still finding his footing, all this other stuff. But Shadow is more like, I don't know, a teenager because of the way he is always in his feelings. You know what I mean? So like, I would like...
Yes. So way to put it.
So I would love if Sonic was like his age, like, like that age that we see in the video games. So it's not just like Shadow being like, "I'm older than you, Sonic." Like, I don't want that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do for the 3rd movie, because obviously it will probably follow the storyline of Sonic Adventure 2, which is the the game that Shadow first appeared in.
Yeah.
And we'll learn all about, his backstory and Maria and
Maria. Yeah, her.
if there is a Maria in the movies,
there has
I guess
to
we'll
be.
have
That's
to see.
that's the thing. Like, I mean, I guess there doesn't have to be, but I'm pretty sure that's such a big thing. Not even in the games, but in like in the show as well. Like, that's what keeps him from being a complete baddie.
Yeah, that's true.
He's basically Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z as well. He's like, Sonic is just Dragon Ball Z.
But with hedgehogs and talking animals.
And lots of furry action. Anyways, we've talked for so long, but it was just so much fun to do it. I really like this film. Is it perfect? I don't think so, but it's a really good video game movie. I think it's just as good as the first one. If you enjoyed the first one, I think you will also like the second one. I agree. If anything, this movie just is bigger in a lot of ways. And I've seen this in a few reviews before, in the way that it's like, it does more of everything. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I would say most of the time it works. It's just like it throws, because they expand the Sonic universe by like 10 times compared to the first movie. It can be a lot, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. But again, a lot of fun. And if anything, like, it might be Jim Carrey's last role. I doubt it, but it might be, according to him.
I really hope not.
I hope not. They said they would never replace Eggman with anybody else. So, and honestly, they don't need Eggman anymore. Depending, like, how many movies are we going to get of Sonic? I imagine... I guess if it keeps printing money, we can get a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is like insane to think about. But then also, I don't know. I feel like Eggman is a staple of the Sonic series.
He is. I'm just thinking about, like, if they only end on 3 movies, which now that I've said it out loud, I'm like, there's no way they're going to end on 3 movies. Yeah, they'll have to bring them back. You're right. They're all right.
Yeah.
Winnie, what did you think of Sonic 2?
Ooh, I would say that, honestly, I wish that I could go back in time and tell my younger self that, hey, don't stress about, what you're finding right now with regards to Sonic, all the negative reviews, all the bad games, even the games that aren't released for the Nintendo consoles that you own. There's a lot to look forward to in the future, and one day you will actually see Sonic on the big screen with your own 2 eyes. So, and not just that, but it'll be a fantastic movie too.
Yeah. It really is. And Sonic Frontiers is coming this year, apparently, allegedly.
I hope so.
I doubt it.
We'll see.
It's definitely not. And it has the pitch of, it's Breath of the Wild, but it's Sonic. And I'm like, we will see.
Yeah, we will definitely see.
But please be good. God damn it. Please give us a good Sonic game. I want to like Sonic again. I really do. Did you play Sonic Forces? Terrible game. Terrible.
I have not played Sonic Forces.
Don't play it. Don't play it. It was the free game of PlayStation 1 month. I'm like, I haven't played a Sonic game in forever. I'm wanting a good Sonic game. I played the first 2 missions. It was just, it was so bad. You don't even get to play as Sonic for some of it. Like, you have to create your own weird hedgehog character.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I can't believe that's actually a feature I can't believe they actually did that. I have to give props to Sonic Team for doing that, but who knows? Maybe I'll play it on stream. Maybe that'll be my Sonic game of the year.
Wait, you have no, you shouldn't say so many, but you have other Sonic games. Did you play Sonic Adventure 1 yet on your stream?
Yes. Oh, not on stream. I don't know. I think Sonic Adventure 2 is better, but I think that's a discussion for another time.
I agree. I agree with you. Oh, also, I heard Sonic Generations is good too. I have not played that one. I've not played that one.
I played a bit of it, but I didn't finish it. And when I played it with the original GameCube controller, which has some buttons missing. So it was a poor experience.
Oh, okay. Well, that's on you.
Yeah. So, but who knows? I was thinking of having Sonic Generations be my Sonic game for this year. So,
okay. Yeah. All right. I would much rather watch that than you making a weird hedgehog character in Sonic Forces. Although now that I've said that out loud, I'm like, maybe I do want to see that. Winnie, what would you rate Sonic 2? How many Chaos Emeralds is this movie out of?
Well, there's 7 Chaos Emeralds. So I would give it, oh my gosh. I would give it'll sound too memey if I say a 5 out of 7. but I would say that maybe a 6 out of 7 even, because for obviously for me, like, I love Sonic, so there is a bit of bias there, and I do think that there are moments where I was like, okay, yeah, that was way too cheesy, or that was a little too predictable. I totally saw that coming, but overall, like you said, Tung, if I had kids, I would definitely take them to see this movie. And above all else, I did genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, enjoy it. So
yeah, that's great. And I would give it, let's see.
you gotta give it out of 7 as well.
Yeah, I will give it 7 furry hedgehogs out of out of one edgelord like myself, Shadow the Hedgehog. This reference only works if you've ever played the video game, but since Winnie has played the video game, it's working on her.
Tom, have you ever considered going into voice acting?
No, I would be very bad at it unless they ask me to voice Shadow the Hedgehog. All right. Well, that's been today's episode of Talking Tongue. We have here today, once again, megastar, supersonic streamer, Winnie, everyone. Winnie, what do you want to plug for the people at home?
Well, obviously, I would really appreciate if you all came to one of my Twitch streams. Again, you can find me at twitch.tv/whinnaay. That's with 2 N's and 2 A's. On Monday, Wednesday, or Saturday evenings, Eastern time. Again, I mostly stream Genshin, but always open to playing more games in the future. And of course, for June, I will be featuring a Sonic game on my stream. So
amazing. Well, thank you so much again for being here and talking about Sonic. I could not think of anybody else I'd want to talk about this. I don't know who else would fangirl over this specific thing other than you. So this is great. So thanks again, Winnie.
Of course. Yeah. And of course, I have to say thank you to you as well, Tung. It's an honor again to be on Talking Tung for the second time and to talk about one of my favorite topics of all time.
Maybe we gotta get you back, but on Ranked, and rank another top 5 where we're like top 5 furries, top 5.
Oh my God. I don't think I'm qualified enough to speak about that.
You know what? I feel like you'd be like, you say that, and then you'd have like 20 nominations just in the back of your pocket now.
No.
All right. Well, we got to go fast. I had to just drop that. And how does Sonic do it? Got to go fast. I can't do Sonic. See, I can't do it. I can only do Shadow. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And before we go, of course, Winnie has her world famous catchphrase. Let's hear it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is so not family friendly, but the first thing that popped into my mind was gotta go fast and eat ass and touch grass.
Bye, everyone.